It's turning out to be a little bit more of a mess than I was expecting here. Um, guess it's time to just take apart the dash and just basically just learn this thing myself. The wiring diagram. I'm sure if I was really good at it, I could figure it out. Or if I, in fact, I'm going to do that. I'm gonna put this on the big screen. I'll take a picture of it and see if I can do any better just looking at it on the big screen. You know, here's the old heart. Well, I guess I'm going to become the Cabo Cruiser Wizard or something like that. Cabo Cruiser King. There we go. Um, I'm really busting this thing down into almost simplicity here. These connectors on here, man, just outrageous. I took this connector off of this motor, or I mean, off this thing here, put it on here, so that it go click into there, and that motor, that controller appears to be fried. Well, I got some corrections about my Cabo Cruiser repairs. The wiring harness videos, I figured out it was actually a lot simpler, but in a complex way. The power wire, okay, the 5 wires coming out of the controller that I couldn't figure out. What it was one wire that's almost always blue, usually dark blue, is a speedometer output. It goes from that to that blue wire hanging out of the dashboard. That's the only integration between that dash panel and the controller. It's just a speedometer output to the interface, to the display input. All right, now the three wires are the together. And that's side the rectangle is I'm messing up. All right, the throttle is the 3-wire connector to 3-wire connector. The 5 wires coming out. One of those wires is a 48-volt in low power switched to turn on and off the controller without disconnecting the main power. Similar to like how a car radio works, or a car stereo amplifier. In fact, that's a good way to put it. It's like kind of like works like a car. It's wired like a car amplifier. All right, another wire coming in, which I think on this one actually had 2 wires for some stupid reason, where the new controller only had 1 wire, and the wiring that I got it hooked up with what I should say is the newer bike controller had 1 wire. The older bike controller appeared to have 2 for the brake inputs. And the brand newly purchased and installed, the replacement controller, it has 2 wires as well. But 3 wires for the brake input, but only 1 is needed. I think it called it the high pass or high brake switch or something. And what it is the 12 volts going to the brake light. Whenever the brake light comes on, power goes through that wire and doesn't turn the controller off like the switch does, but it disconnects the ability for the controller to send power to the motor. So you see what I'm saying? There's actually a little bit of kind of smart electronics in it. Where'd y'all go? They're back here playing. But anyway, there's a little bit of smart electronics in it. In fact, that's what that Hall sensor is. Those 5 wires are called Hall sensors. And the 3 wires are phase wires. I did a lot of learning. I actually had to go online to do a lot of this figuring out. So, but anyway, and really, that's it. That's pretty much all the integration for that controller. It's just the accessory, the ignition power switch on, the speedometer out, and the brake light switch on or in. That's it. That was all I needed. to figure out. It was so simple. They just had so many other wires. Now, the both of the original controllers had a low speed switch that you could connect, and it would limit the speed to about 17 or 18 miles an hour instead of the 24 or 25 that it would do tops. And the replacement controller that I purchased has 3 wires. It says a high, low, and medium. With it disconnected, you saw it on the other video. Excuse me. It tops out at at about 24, like the other bike did, or the other controllers did. But so I'm assuming if I connect a couple of them, it should bring it down to around 20, and maybe if I connect the the other set of in the harness, it'll actually drop it to I would assume like 15 or something. And if I could get one of those, what I might do is use that setup for cruise control. Just literally like click, 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 like whatever I want to just open the throttle and leave it there. So I'm not always sitting there and adjusting it. I can just go click, click, click. That's a great idea. I still want another thing to lock the throttle. Particularly, in fact, that's a great idea. I've been thinking about making a little switch that just slides out to lock the throttle, because it doesn't matter when you hit the brake, the motor disconnects anyway. The problem will be is when you disconnect the brake, it'll put full throttle to the motor. But again, with the Hall sensors, it doesn't just jam out 48 volts. It steps it up as the speed increases. And same as the battery power decreases, as you're running out of batteries, it steps the top speed down. It's not always just keep trying to put out everything on the batteries. It actually, it's pretty good. Or at least the original controllers were like that. I would assume that those replacement controllers should be better. Now, the replacement controller also had integration for alarm system, but if you don't have one, just ignore it. Great. Thank goodness for that, because the instructions weren't too clear on that. It sounded like if you don't have it, it sounded like you still need to connect something, or that it wouldn't work, or which again, it's just trip switching and stuff really to get to solve that. But I didn't have to. It was plug and play. Nice. And did it have any other wiring or features in between all of it that was crazy? Okay, no. So now with the light wiring. Okay, yeah, it apparently 48 volt, basically to the the parking light headlight switch, and then that goes over to the high beam low beam indicator. I mean switch, and then those 2 wires go off to the headlamp for the two filaments. And when the high beam one has power, that wire goes up into the dashboard to light up the high beam indicator. The blinkers kind of do the same thing. When they're flashing, they're sending out 12 volts to the light. It's sending a wire from right and one from the left right to the dashboard. And when that thing says 12 volts, the indicator on the dash displays. And the way that works behind that is the 12 volt comes out a single wire to the headlight parking light switch, or no, I'm sorry, splits to the blinkers and to the running lights. The running lights is just on off, and it's just on off. And it also splits over to the brake light, which is just on the handle and then wired to the back of the bike with one wire going to the controller to shut off the safety. Okay, the blinkers, coming off of that 12 volt converter in the back, off the single lead that splits. The blinkers go into the blinker switch. Then it just determines right and left, and when that works, it sends the power over to that blinker box. It goes click, click, click. I'm assuming that's integrated in the blinker switch. That's one thing I'm not 100% sure on, but I'm pretty. There really can't be any other way this thing works this way. And I'll make sure I double check on that and put that down in the details when I get on that and check it. So, but yeah, so the blinkers do that. Um, the headlight goes up in there, and then we have that. And and of course the switch power wire that goes to turn on the controller will also go into the dash to turn on the dash. Um, the dash has a digital tripometer. The other one was nice because it actually gave you like your ride and it would reset every time you shut it off and turn it back on, and it would display the total kilometers. You know, every time you turn it on for a few seconds. This one just shows you the total all the time. I kind of bummed out about that. I really like that feature. You know, of course, you always have to do your miles to kilometers and everything, but it really helped you keep track of, you know, how far you went between rides and stuff. So I missed that feature on the bike that got stolen, and too bad that thing got smashed because, you know what I'm saying, man. So let's see. We got the tail headlights, blinkers, and parking lights. Yeah, tail lights, parking lights are just connected together. And the horn. Yeah, another 12-volt wire just goes off to the horn switch, and the starter switch on a regular motorcycle is just a horn switch on this one. Let's see. I think that's about it on that Cabo Cruiser wiring deal. Alright, guys. Well, like I said, you'll watch in the other videos, I got it all fixed up and everything, and let's see. Yeah, so like I said, with the controller wiring, harnesses, and integration, yeah, they really, it just, you saw the jumble and the mess. It could have been done a little more simpler. And you see how they changed that connector on that, and I understand why. You know, you buy a cheaper controller and a cheaper motor, and you just toss some, you know, out, you know, some high demand or high quantity connectors on there, you know, that'll fit on anything and everything, and just, yeah, you cut the cost, you cut it. But you saw what happened, man. The new bike didn't even last about 9 to 10 months, and I'm on the old motor that I drove the thunder out of, and I'm still driving the thunder out of it, and it just will not quit. It will not give up. It won't die. It is an awesome, awesome, awesome hub motor, and like I said, but it doesn't matter because I'm replacing the bike here shortly anyway. I'm going to sell this bike because my brother David really doesn't want it. And, or should I keep it as a spare? I'll probably sell it because now that this newer upgraded model's coming out, it's more in tune with the longer range riding I'm going to be doing and the hard cornering I'm doing. And, you know, I'm switching over to it, you know, and again, same with this hub motor. The I don't know if I'm gonna get the newer hub motor that failed me, or if I'm gonna get an older hub motor like I'm still using if I ever have to change it out. I'm done with that. I'm just switching to the 60 volts. So you know, somebody's interested in buying the bike, comment below, and well, we'll talk about seeing if it's worth, you know, what you think it's worth, and or whatever. All right, talk to you later.